with regards to this topic. Umbrella. The reason why we're actually doing this, adding on to what Jara said earlier on, it is also to bring awareness, and it's our initiative to pay it forward, to show to everyone, and to actually hold space, and to also offer to those who actually need them to know that, hey, there are people who will resonate with you, there are people who will listen to you, there are people who you have yet to discover who are actually your cheerleader. Reason being is that don't go out and discover, we will never know who's actually cheering for us. If we don't go out and mingle, we won't know what is it out there that we do not know, we don't know. Okay? So in order to be able to do what we want to do, we need to be open. Okay? So at the present moment, you're going to ask yourself, what is it that you're actually focusing on? What is it that you are actually paying attention, and what's your intention therein? Are you just going to work to earn the money for bread and butter only, or you can actually make a choice to make it exciting, to make it interesting, to make it so what is untapped potential? Okay, why is it important? Okay, because every one of us, I tell you, our potential is limitless. Our potential is like, it's all, it can actually mind blow us ourselves when we unleashed it. Okay, it's because the potential means capacity to exist, but isn't fully expressed. The capacity to exist. If you have the capacity to exist, you are already existing in a manner that you are choosing what is it that you want to express. If you have the capacity that exists but haven't fully expressed, that's the potential. And what is it? All right. And why is this important? There are a few things why this is important. For those who join us, please feel free to actually type into the chat box, those online, share with us why is untapped potential important. Okay. Number one, to me, from what I experience is personal fulfillment. It avoids regret. It avoids looking back and saying I should have done that, or looking back and say that, hey, I would have done that. Looking back, I didn't make that choice. Now, we are at a setting, we are doing what we are doing not by chance. It is always a creation of something. It is always a condition of something that brings us together. But in order for us to continue doing so, we also have a chance to either change it or continue it. Right? The main thing is that you want to ask yourself, will there be personal fulfillment in doing so? Because you don't want to be regretting it when you actually have that choice. Imagine you have a wand on your hand. Okay, you can wave it with the spell that you wish. But if you don't use the wand stays rusty, it stays in the web. It just stays there without being fully exercised. All right. And it's also important because it's a growth opportunities. We have 6 areas of our life, major areas of life. I'm not saying that there aren't major ones, but you want to ask yourself, what are the growth opportunities in your career, in your relationship, in your creativity, in your expression? What is it that you want to see that is growing with you, that has a breakthrough in you? Okay. And untapped potential is very much about the societal progress as well. Every Einstein, every Beyonce, every innovator. You know, the other day I just read a book. I just read through the book. It's called The Matriarch. It's by Beyonce's mother. She actually wrote about her past and what are her challenges, and how, as a lady, matriarch, as a mother, when the husband is actually, having affairs and all that, how did she hang on to herself? What kind of mentality that she have inside that still allows her daughters to actually grow up, comfortably as themselves? why is it that, even as a black woman, when she sent her kids, to psychologists at a younger age, people mock her. People say, hey, your kids have problem. Why do you send your kids to psychologists? But she did what was right because she doesn't want to allow her kids' potential to go to waste. She believed so much in her kids' potential that they needed to be who they are. She did everything she can to actually help her kids, the two daughters, to stay in good relationship, to support each other, to grow up to their highest potential, to see things that a lot of us see as challenges as normal, to reflect on things that a lot of us see as challenges, for them to see it as through a lens of curiosity and interest. Ask yourself, when was the last time you gave credit to yourself that you don't have an icky feeling at the back that says that if, or have a but at the back, or have a should or shouldn't at the back? Okay, when was it that you were spontaneously giving yourself that kind of credit, and you reckon with it, and you ground yourself so much that you know that this is not an excuse, you just know it, and you don't even need to actually explain about it or talk about it, and that's norm. That is then norm. Then that is then you know you are working on your potential. That is then that you know that you're on the track where you're so congruent, and that you work on your potential layer by layer, layer by layer, without beating yourself but recognizing it. Anything to add on, Shara? Welcome, Wayne.
Just now you mentioned about the magic one, right? I think it's something that's quite interesting because a lot of us actually only think about following, but we never really thought about taking back the choices with the one and
I should have brought my one to
wish and say that no, I do not want this abracadabra, make it in like this.
I have 6 1 at home. 6 ones.
So we should actually start putting ones up for sale so that it becomes an object of reminder that we can actually choose to waive your one of choice.
Yeah.
Change it in a way that fits you.
Yeah. The reason why I actually resonated with one is
We can use pen.
when I was younger, I was always wondering, what if, I have a special one and I can make a different choice? What if? So that's how I actually, reckon with one, because magic one, if you can actually weave, and then you can make something change, just like suddenly, I don't know if you actually watch Harry Potter. I mean, the headmaster actually clapped, but usually you will weave a wand and then you have something.
Yeah,
but he clapped, the feast of food on the table.
Now that you brought out your pens, right? They always say the pen is mightier than a sword. So it's like with your wand, with your pen, with your whatever pointy thing that works. The action is meant for you to realize that you have the power of creation, you have the power of choices that will allow you to do things a different way should you decide to. And of course, if you don't decide to, then just let it be until something needs to change, or until it's painful for you to realize that no, it cannot go on anymore, and then you want to make things differently. And I feel like the untapped potential is also a very interesting and tricky area in ourselves, because a lot of us are functioning in a way where it actually becomes a blind spot. So how do we actually realize that there is this untapped skill that is meant to be unleashed?
Well, I have this a little bit unconventional. Okay. Why is unconventional? Is because I'm not somebody who really like to follow the structured system. I like to discover and be creative with the kind of ways that I can actually go about in finding or discovery or being interested in certain topics when it comes to personal professional development. Now, I would like to angle through these two angles, personal and professional. The reason being is that personal is because who we are and what's important to us, okay? And professional, what actually keeps us relevant, keeps us sustained with our bread and butters, to the support from the people around us and all that. But the thing is that you want to know, if you want to find out this potential, if you want to know even if there is, you must first find out what is it that you want to, what kind of life you want to be living. Okay, what kind of life that you want to be living. If you do not know what kind of life you're living, fine, there's another way also. You can actually look back into your own habits, how you have lived your life. What are the things that's repetitively you have been doing? I give you an example. When you're sad, what will you do? Will you go watch movie? Will you call somebody to talk to? Will you journal? Will you go and do art? Will you go play piano? Will you go and do sports? What is it that you will do? What is it that you will go and turn to be doing when you're sad, when you're bored, when you're angry, when you're in a state of it's not known, where you are in either way, where you're actually finding challenging in your challenges in yourself, even when you're bored. What is it that will you go and do? That will give you a clue what you actually lean towards. Okay, if you actually lean towards cooking, for example, there could be potential there that you have not tapped on that will allows you to actually work on. Hi, Marco.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Hi, Marco. Welcome.
Hey. So we have two audience here. One is Wei, one is Marco. Welcome, Marco. Where's your son today?
I'm here.
In school today.
One place.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Hey.
So we are live today. It's hybrid, and we are talking about this topic called untapped potential. You have any thoughts about that? We just went through why untapped potential is important. It's like a guiding compass, and it is about us being curious and interested in our life. And what is it about? We're just into the what part. So yes, should we ask Marco to introduce himself?
Marco, maybe have a small introduction of yourself, please, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Marco. Be here. Yeah, I just started entrepreneuring not so long time this year. And, yeah, I think there's a lot of untapped potential in society in general. I think not only us personally or me, what I feel, but
What is your
because
zone of
it's-
entrepreneur?
Sorry?
What is the topic for your, like, what are you actually exploring the entrepreneurship journey?
Physical built environment.
Physical
Yeah, the
environment,
everything.
space.
Yeah, no living things, but well, I think
Space design, for example.
buildings.
Buildings, right. Okay, nice.
It's important for us to have a roof over our head and to actually keep us safe, especially from the environment and such.
Yes.
I was just
Elements.
French earlier on my way here because I forgot to bring my umbrella. Yeah.
Okay, wait, let's go to Wei. Good morning. Good morning. Familiar face. Say hi. Hi. You have anything to share? This morning, this wonderful wet morning.
Nothing.
Okay, nothing. Okay, so come back to Marco. Anything you want to add?
Marco is having a lot of question mark.
No, we keep it actively fluid.
Yeah, I know Marco joined us for the first time. This is an initiative that we actually work together with different communities, one of which is actually Asia AI Association. So we are part of the founding team, and we want to actually talk about a lot of unleashed potential topics and under the umbrella of human intelligence, because human intelligence is one of the flagship program under Asia AI Association. So it's AI and HI flagship program. So this is an initiative for us to actually engage with individuals to talk about a lot of things that is close to our heart. And every first and third Mondays of the month, we will have these different topics that we actually stream online and talk to each other face to face and such. Recently, we got some feedback, and the third Monday of the month has been changed to Wednesday, where we have game days.
Interactive games party, so we're actually planning according to our flow.
Yeah.
But we welcome more people to host with us to interact and connect. It's not like it's a one-way thing where we are always the initiators, but we actually do work with people like Marco and me to come on and share ideas and host it as well.
So moving back to self-awareness, how do we know we have untapped potential and that we can actually tap
If
on
it's
it?
nicely resting in our blind spots.
Yeah, it is resting on our blind spots. So we can actually identify it by understanding, okay, actually what actually comes to us naturally. What is it that we'll respond to naturally? Or we can leverage on external input. For example, what do people compliment you on? What do people say that you're good at? Okay. What excites you enough to lose track of time? What is it that you do once you start doing, you will lose track of time? I mean, don't tell me Netflix. Netflix is
I didn't lose track of time, but I feel myself so easily, right? Watching movie. No,
K-drama.
no, I've been watching live streamers selling their stuff online, and I was like, one seller after the other. I'm like, let me try it. Let me try it. Then after that, hours and hours pass because the way that they sell is very in a way, I don't think it's intentional, but it's a scarce. It's like leftovers that that they actually take out, and then they even themselves they're actually blind boxing the entire process, so they don't know what they are getting. And then when you open it, if you like it, and of course sometimes there's hundreds of people watching, tens of thousands of people watching, you technically have to beat like that item with other people who may also like the same item. And that's why I guess the hang and the hook of it is very hard to put down because you don't want to miss out. But I mean, I do enjoy the process. It's just more of like as I was watching it, I was also internalizing it and wondering what's wrong. Can put it down now, but I cannot. So then I was like, okay, since I can't put it down, might as well just enjoy the process and understand what is it that I can actually use and apply in the work and in the communities that we are working with and doing it.
There's a difference, there's a difference with being in the trance that is actually purposely, maybe because you like buying things and that you're interested with the engagement, the cute stuff and all that. But you want to be careful because there's a difference here. Untapped potential, it means that what is it that is in you that comes naturally with you in you that you can actually express and take actions upon. And it is not being in trance to just continue, being sucked into that. I like to call it trance.
So I'm fighting myself.
Actually, you don't have to fight yourself. You just need to set an intention. Okay, this is what I'm actually looking out for. It's okay if I missed a certain part of it because the thing is that what I'll miss.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'll get. So then you can be disciplined with your time management. There are two things that once gone, it's gone. Time and energy. Once gone, it's gone. How much you can actually watch and bring whatever you get into what we are actually doing, you must first, number one, find out what is it that you want to get from watching the live streaming that you find you can actually apply to which aspect that we are actually doing.
Yes.
That's one thing. Secondly is that the engagement, the style in which draws the audience, what kind of audience are actually being drawn to that live streaming, and what are the things that you are actually looking at or looking for through the questions that you ask. Number three is that the body language, the setup, how they actually, engage what kind of tonality, what kind of a body language, what's their background like, what are the things that actually they are selling and they are promoting, and what are the support team like. Listen, when they are actually having live stream, are there admin people at the site? Are there people doing packaging? Once someone buy already, put into the cart already, do they do the packaging immediately? And then what's the timeline like? As before, what's the timeline like when they say that, oh, this is going for discount for the next 15 minutes, this is at this price, what's the discount like? Because all this of psychology of why people buy 30% and 50% is a very big difference. Some people go for 30%, some people go for 50%, and how you actually present and structurally present the discounts over and over and over and over again, that is in the trance that allows people to you go into a state like, I don't want to buy, also I buy idea because it sounds so cheap, right? It sounds so affordable, right? And it sounds like too good of a deal to pass. But frankly, when you receive it, you'll ask yourself, is this item really what you want? Is the quality good? Number three is that, is it worth the time to spend so much time to just save on $1 or $2, to just save $5? Is it worth it?
So that's where I want to highlight, right? Actually, my zone of genius is shopping.
Yeah.
So
she can be a personal shopper. Anybody wants a personal shopper, you go and engage her.
No, really, because after I mean, I don't feel bad being in that trance, but at the same time, I know I have to apply it in a way where it makes sense. So I start to, it's not just one, so I start to actually analyze the differences between the items that they're selling, the price point, what are the backgrounds that's happening, what is the front end that's happening, what is the quality comparative, like the product A that looks the same versus the product B, and then how come people are buying from this seller more as in like a repeat customer versus those who just skim through the surface and then they don't just get attracted by the price. So then I realized it's not about the price. At least for me, like, I actually go in and understand, like, do I like this better? Do I like this better? And then I realized that there will be a few that will stand out. And
so
then
it's more for her own shopping interest.
No, then after that I have to check the whether the quality fits whatever they are talking about online, right? So that's where the engagement starts. Like, you can ask questions and then they will reply you. Some of them are more straightforward, some of them are more friendly. And I actually haven't received the items, but it's more of like the process has ongoing for like, I think since last month. And then I was just questioning myself at the same time, why am I so into it, and trying to understand, like, if it is something that I can actually learn and then use it and apply it for other things if it comes up. So the process of learning is not just about the buying and just soaking and wasting time, but we need to do it in very strong intention. Huh?
I didn't say wasting time, she said.
I didn't say, I said if I don't do that, I'm wasting time. But if I'm doing that, right, maybe I can justify that it's not time wasting.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Because if I don't do that and I didn't actually analyze what is it and that is going on at the deeper level, right, then you won't know what's going on. You'll just be part of the people who is just a sucker who is just constantly spending their money. Right. But at the same time, right, I also want to see like what people are into. And then going back to our zone of genius and exploring what is it again, right? It actually reignited my past memory of a passion as a kid, right? Where actually I have interest in making things, in like creating things, in getting the materials that are like, like spare parts. And then the creation starts happening in my head. And that's where I know that, this shopping can come out of, okay, what I can buy now to put a different thing together to create a new one, so that it is more unique, it is more interesting. That if I want to use it like a giveaway or a product, it does not matter. But it's more of that process. It reminded me of this fun element. That's why I guess that I was so into it, because it was a childhood activity that I like to explore. I like to be curious, and then I like cute stuff, and then I want to see how I can actually put it together again, deconstruct, put it together So
Mm.
that's where I wanted to highlight because this is the, I wouldn't say it's fully tapped, but neither is it untapped because I'm really aware. It's just more of how do I actually incorporate it into the work that I'm doing now so that I can, enjoy the process of.
Yeah, so those are the 3 points under the self-awareness checkpoints. What comes naturally to you? What do others compliment you on? And what excites you enough to lose track of time? I think hers is quite obvious. It naturally goes to her and then she loses track of time. Others compliment, I don't know, maybe Wei Ying will actually compliment her for buying and have an eye for good things and, you know, and will actually support her in her purchases. Now, the next, we can actually look into how to identify untapped potential is the blind spots. We can actually ask our friends, our mentors, what is it that they see in you? Now, this is also applicable to personal branding. For example, what colors resonate with you? What are the characteristics and what are the key strengths that people see in you? What you can actually do is that you can ask 5 to 10 friends or as many as you want. What are the 5 things that you see in me? For example, go out and ask them this question. Okay, what are the 5 things that you see in me? Or you can just say, I'm building a personal brand for myself. And can you help me to actually identify what kind of image that I actually portray and what is it that you resonate with when it comes to thinking about me or seeing me or what is it that you see in me? So can you point out 5 things that resonates with you that you see in me, right? And this can actually help you look what are the color combinations that suits you, what kind of image that suits you, and it actually helps you with the narration in your positioning as well, right? Why I talked about this because our initiative when it comes to these unleash potential sessions is coming from 3 main aspects. Number one is mindset. Number two is positioning. Number three is wealth. And when we talk about wealth, we are talking about resources, we are talking about health, we are talking about networking, we are talking about money, and we are talking about relationships, right? Networking and relationships are a little bit different, especially for me, is because networking is very business, very functional, very numbers driven, and very factual. But relationship building is where the community building comes in, where we have a sense of resonance and we do things together from interest based um, to activities based in discovery to anything that is beyond just businesses. Right? It helps us actually grow as an individuals. It actually helps us actually experience the kind of life that we want to actually experience. All right, and that goes to the point, the next point under these blind spots called try new environments. Right, the potential is often revealed under pressure. For example, try new environments, try something that scares you, but please be safe. Okay, don't put yourself into a harmful situation like you go into the woods but you have not hiked before, and then you don't have the proper gear, you don't have the proper food or water with you, no guidance, don't do that, right? But what I meant is that always try to level up. If you feel that, hey, I want to speak more, all right, then go into meetups, go into different settings that allows you to speak up and speak more. Just like our setting here, when individuals come face to face, we would engage and we encourage them to actually, share their opinions as we chat into the live Zoom as well and among each other. And then public speaking, all right, it's also another avenue. Also, as you go into meetups, we have coaching pods, we have different types of meetups where you meet and then you introduce yourself. All this allows you to actually put yourself in a new environment, all right? That allows you to discover new things. But the other potential pressure that I would like to encourage you to actually go for, it's like, for example, in your career, are you able to think like your next level? If you are a associate right now, can you think at the level of a senior associate? you're a senior associate now. Can you think at the level of a assistant manager? Can you think of a level of a manager? Are you able to think that? Think ahead, all right? And volunteer, take up the role, take up more responsibility. If you work under pressure, I tell you, you will find ways to actually go and overcome it because you are never lack of resources. You're always full of resources. The only time when you're unresourceful is when you're emotional, when you are not able to manage your state, right? So go and challenge yourself. Go and find new opportunities. Go and try out new things because no one will appreciate you more than you appreciating yourself and develop the kind of confidence that you look for. Have you not allowed yourself to grow? But always remember to take a step back and ask for help if you really need to. All right, don't just chung and then after that, wow, yeah, can be quite detrimental.
I would like to also ask our audience, Marco and Wei, right? What do you think are the barriers holding you back from your potentials at the moment, or maybe it has passed?
You mean what are the potentials or?
Like what are the barriers, like obstacles holding you back? What do you think?
In life generally or?
Yeah.
In life, in your work.
Well, yeah, I think emotions, what kind of fears.
What kind of fears? You okay to share a little bit more on that?
Past and imagination comes in the form of fears.
Because you have stepped into the journey of entrepreneurship. So a lot of
Yeah,
things is
I
not
think
as
so.
stable as when we are actually employed.
Yeah, but it could be any situation, social or career or some challenge, some expectation.
How would you manage those expectations versus you wanting to actually explore your untapped potential or the foresee potential in the projects that you're working on, the opportunities that prevails themselves?
So how to overcome them?
How do you overcome that?
Either I do or don't. I don't really know how, but like I think times just pass.
Okay.
Quite often just decide, okay, cannot really stay put and not move forward.
So it's more of like making a choice and move forward and then take it from there and then move forward, continue to move forward.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes with some kind of another feeling or rage or something.
It's quite
Emotions
common.
is the keyword, like either fear or rage.
What's your outlet like when it comes to rage?
It's like discard some things, or it can be like chaos of many kinds of thoughts, chaos of dirty table full of stuff, dirty home, then something like the rage or just a decision, calm decision to start throwing out things or start randomly picking something once I feel too much time has passed.
All right. So what I would do is that when rage comes, my first thing is that I will start breathing. I'll bring my focus back to my breathing. And then I will do this thing called timeline therapy to release it. And then I will find out what's my limiting decision, limiting beliefs that I'm actually having right now in the situation. Does the negative emotion comes up? And then after that, I will go take a shower or you just start doing decluttering. And sometimes I just started cooking, even nobody eating. I just started cooking. And then after that, what I did was that once I release those energy and I'm calmed down and I actually have like I does an activity that is different from the settings that cause my rage. I come back to it and then I start to look into what are the possibilities, okay, or opportunities that I've overlooked in this area or in this approach or in this context. What is it that I can do alternatively so that I won't get angry again? There's no rage there. So it's from the problem solving angle on personal management when it comes to emotion. That's what I would do. Gerald, what would you do?
If I feel rich.
You feel rage.
First,
She will start
I let
ranting.
go first.
She'll start ranting.
Yeah, I will start to rant and pick at the specific point or person who enraged me. And then after that, right, I will feel like maybe half or like one third better, right? Then after that, I will analyze, is this situation even worth continuing, or I only needed just to release it. And then if there really needs to have a solution for it, right, then I will really start to solution it. Because the reason why I get raged, right, is because they step on my tail. Otherwise, I really wouldn't really respond or react, right? It's because that person has done or behaved in a way where their shit will come my way. And even if it hasn't come yet, right, I can totally see the shit in the trajectory. That's why I will feel like, ah! So, in a way, the solution will come if, let's say, I foresee the shit coming and landing in my doorstep. I will have to solution it so that it just gets out of that path.
That's on the personal management angle. But when it comes to work and all that, what will you do?
I will let it go first. And then in a way where, I have to discern, like, if let's say work still needs to be done, right, either I just have to do it as like a backup solution, or, just let that mistake happen if it's meant to be happen, and move away lor and find another route lah. It actually always happens in the path of entrepreneurship. So multiple times we actually had to find lots of different ways. And then in a way I find that I no longer have to reach about it because the next way is actually a better way.
Mine is slightly different from you. When I find the solutioning, right, that is on my personal one. But when it comes to work, right, I will think again, okay, what are the areas that I've overlooked in the execution of the project or the business? Okay, what are the angles that I have not really looked at, and who can actually comes in that I can partner with to problem solve this? What are the creative area that I can actually do? I do check with ChatGPT, but sometimes they don't give me answers. They confuse me even more because they needed me to give them more information, more input so that they can go out and plow. But the thing is that I do not know what I do not know. So the best thing is I will go and find my mentor, or I will go and find books relevant to it, and then I read through the book. If the book is too thick, that's where I use app like LM Notes to help me summarize everything and then to find key points. And then I go into the case studies. Some projects that I'm actually doing, I need to go into the case studies. And then when I look at the case study, I ask myself, is this applicable? Is this something that I'm looking for? Then I test it out. I make a plan to actually test it out. Because in the area of what I actually do, two things, personal and professional, blurred sometimes. It is the line being blurred for me is because I'm a coach and a trainer. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's all also about who are my stakeholders, who are my clients, who are my investors. I need to take care of them. And if I were to take care of them, how do I position myself from the resources that I have right now, where I am right now, towards the goal that I say I will actually deliver together with my team or by myself in the role that I actually play. So sometimes it can be overwhelming, but it is good to have team members whom you can actually brainstorm with. Now, Emotions are very important because they give us the signal what we are okay with and what we are not okay with. Sometimes they also give us signal to be on guard on what's probably we have not seen consciously, but is a risk that we need to manage before it explodes.
Yeah.
Especially as an entrepreneur, like for myself, I'm a solopreneur or a self-employed, or or someone who's solo, and I'm glad that I have a team who work with. So we all help each other to grow, and when we are beaten, we just manage from there. So find a cheerleader, find people who you can actually work with, so that you can grow from there. Because if you're too similar, when one goes down, the other goes down, all goes down,
Yeah.
right? Where if there's a different, then once go up, the other person sees it in different perspective. You may argue, but it's okay, because once you argue, you talk it out. That's where sometimes you will realize the untapped potential or the opportunities either for the project or rooms for growth for yourself as well. Okay, but be very open, be very honest throughout the process, because the thing is that how honest you are, it is how much or how open you are towards your own development. All right. So any more to add?
We're talking about being honest, right? Before we go to weighing, right? Officers shared that they misunderstood, and then we were just sharing like, if let's say we feel rage when we talk it out. I mean, not when I actually rage, I don't rage at a person. I go home and rage at somebody else who is not involved in the situation, so that right, I don't do stupid things just because I don't feel happy. But it's more of I needed to let it go. Of course, finding that cheerleader, whether it's your spouse, your friends, your partners, who is not involved, right, would make more sense than if you were to reach within that situation itself. Then after that, then will you be able to, be objective, step back, cool down, breathe, do whatever, right, to think of solutions, or whether you want to choose to walk away. Okay, so then going back to, arguing sometimes could actually help us to realize our untapped potential, because a lot of so-called differences, right, are actually different ways of expression, different methods of getting things done. But ultimately, if we actually realize, if let's say we had to even argue or rage at each other, right, then we realize if the outcome is actually the same, then the problem is technically half solved. So then the only thing is to find out what is the correct common lingo, where two or three or more people can come together, right, to achieve the desired outcomes. And that is why it's very complex and not that difficult, because emotions can be chaotic. The understanding, the level of understanding and the words that we use to explain things and our expectations that's happening in our head before it come out of our mouth, that we thought about it, but we didn't actually express it, right, is the huge communication gap that happens between teams or happens between clients and even your close friends and family and relationships. Yeah.
So 3 parts or 3 points to identifying your untapped potential. Number 1 is self-awareness checkpoints. What comes naturally to you? What do others compliment you on? What excites you enough to lose track of time? Number 2 is blind spots. So you can ask your mentors, your friends, your coach, what is it that they see in you, and try out new environments. Potential is often revealed under pressure. Okay, and number 3 is chat about it. Chat engagement, talk about it, talk it out. Especially for women, talk and talk and talk and talk and talk non-stop. But you will find a solution, because after you feel better, you will find a solution. When you found a solution, you will do it. This is what I realized. This is what I discovered as well. I mean, I do find men who talk a lot as well, but interestingly, not as many as women.
Okay, now weighing instant. What do you think could be your obstacles in blocking your potential? I think it's about overthinking. Overthinking, okay. Overthinking. Also, I think it's over confidence level. So do you want to share more about how do you overcome the overthinking and how do you overcome the not so confident part?
Overthinking will be, I think it's also need to actually, sometimes also need to step back as well. Like, so like for example, let's say I do into certain projects or certain tasks, right? Then I will start to overthink without realizing.
Okay.
So probably will need to actually pause at certain moment to actually go back and reflect, and then
How do you catch that part where you realize that you're overthinking? Is it
When
like suddenly
you-
come out like that?
when you actually, for example, that suddenly you actually do, like you find out that actually you actually how to say, like you already work for a long period of time. And I was like, how come the time flies so fast? And that there must be something not right there. Actually doing or overdoing.
Okay, so time is your
Measurement.
key measure, like if you do something, if you don't know whether you're doing it right or not, and then if let's say maybe when you feel like not so good, right, and you feel like so much time passed, that's where you realize that that's where the stepping back has to happen.
If not, in between probably need to actually create a habit like in between schedules.
Oh, okay.
So that you actually are going into that.
Okay. Yeah, actually it's very interesting because I was talking about time and she lose track of time different for different reasons. That lose track of time. So when I really enjoy it and I'm very focused, I also lose track of time. And then when I'm in like, as what you said, the trance, right? I also know that I need to break it. So I really become super obsessed. So in that sense, right, maybe setting an alarm helps. Or as what we shared, right? You have schedule blocks of time that you intentionally tell yourself, no, you will stop by this time. You will do something else.
So not you will actually
Yeah, you will just continue to like, so now we need more alarms to jar us awake and break us out.
Actually, you don't need more alarms. I can share with you what I do to manage this, especially when time crunch.
Yes.
That will actually move us to part 4, which is the implementing and activating potentials. Once we actually discover an untapped potential, for example, you would want to actually do something about it, but you are worried about time, just like what we did, is that you can introduce more consistent actions. Okay, because more impactful, focused, consistent actions matter more than the big bursts. Because the small consistent actions gives you the resonance, and it's actually built a kind of habit, the unconscious habit that you will actually harness once you actually have the habit shift over. When we want to take on something new, right, you will need an introduction. When you have an introduction, you want to have a resonance and get familiar with it. And once you get familiar with it, it becomes very natural to you. So small consistent actions matters. Small consistent actions means you set minor goals. All right, you set minor goals that align with your strength in your management and the plan on executing this habit, or moving towards taking actions towards your untapped potential. Right, then you surround yourself with challenges, you surround yourself with the kind of environment that support you to doing that. All right, you can change your routines, okay, because new habits reveals new abilities, new habits reveals new insights, it reveals new structure and processes that you may not know actually resonates with you or you find better for you, okay, better works for you. And it actually challenges you to see from different perspectives and broaden your scope. Now, I mentioned earlier on, I'll share with you the time management part. That is called boxing up the time. Now, what you do is that you can earmark, okay, you can earmark 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or even 2 hours to do a task, to do a project, to complete an assignment, to complete a work engagement. engagement. As you do that, you do a time block of 20 minutes or 30 minutes. All right, because our span of attention, the focus impact attention is about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on the individual. Find your own. You can start with 20 minutes and then put a gap, which is like a time lap of a minute or two for you to rest and come back to it. So your time box, we only need one phone to do that. So you run the timing. Once you reach 20 minutes, you can replay again. All right. Once you replay again, you have another time block of 20 minutes. Once you replay again, you have another time box of 20 minutes. Once you look at that, you will know how long it takes you to do that task. And unconsciously, you'll be aware that, hey, I've spent so much time, so many rounds of 20 minutes in it already. Where am I at right now? And every time you reset, you realize that, hey, I have only done until here. Next time, you know that systematically, you can actually quantify, I have spent so much time in this area. This is my time sheet. For example, this is for productivity of work, especially those who are very time sensitive and those who wants to do billing by time. You can actually use this. When you use this, you realize that the way you capture your time in your ability to be very focused and efficient in your work, it's being heightened up. And this is a small challenge that you actually can bring in to how you actually manage your time so that you won't lose track. So if let's say I earmark 2 hours to watch live stream for whatever reason to learn how people sell things online, I am, oh no, 20
Don't
minutes
stop
already.
me.
I cannot go toilet because now it's very kanchong, Now it's the time that I need to. Even if you bring your phone to the toilet, you'll be like, how do I do this time box thing? Then you want to ask yourself, this seller is selling what? Do I need this? What is it that interests me towards watching this product? What is it out now? Frankly, usually, and most of the time, you already have what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
It is all about what you want. Okay?
Yes.
So when it comes to all what you want, then you can actually gauge it by putting a budget. I only spend this much towards the first few items that I buy, and they say I'm going to stop for today. Secondly, is that what are the items in my list that I needed so that I can actually pack whatever that I want right now, so that I can actually buy that and have that to actually go and do what I wanted to do, my handicraft and all that. It doesn't matter if you missed it, because if you missed it, you missed it. And a lot of things, that's once you missed it, the better one might come. It doesn't mean that you won't get it again. No, whatever that is meant to be, that's where your creativity comes. What you get at a point in time, you be creative with it and you innovate from what you have. And that's how we can actually harness and continuously have the innovation and creativity moving, especially those in the creative space. How I know that? Don't ask me, I just know. Because this is what has been done. And this is how I've actually trained the kids and got them to be interested again in what they're actually doing, including preparing for the examination.
Okay.
All right. So you can do it. And once you do that, you realize that you're much more disciplined with yourself. And the more consistent you do it, the more success rate you realize that you keep to what you actually do, you work on the feedback and all that. That's where the confidence comes in. Now, in the personal development space, there are a lot of tools out there. There are a lot of techniques out there. There are a lot of gurus, coaches, trainers, a lot of things out there. But they are only the step one. They're only the step one of 3 steps. Why? Because number one, intervention can be done externally as the first step to bring awareness to fast track to help you see your blind spots and everything. But number two, the boundaries. What is it that you are going to draw again, realign? What are the goals that you're going to set and all that? That is on you. All right. Your coach, your trainer, and all that can be your accountability coach, trainer, and all that. They can give you insights. The mentors all can give you insights, but you need to do the work. Number 3 is take action. Taking actions, no one can help you to take actions. Only you can take actions.
Yeah.
So you're only 1/4, okay? You're only finding help 1/4 to actually fast track you. Number 2 and number 3, you have to do it on your own. You want your untapped potential to be your utmost potential. You want your untapped potential to bring you more opportunities, to heighten your life, to actually make your life much more experiential and exciting. You have to take action.
Yes.
You need to do the work. You can find external resources to help you and all that, but you need to be the catalyst for your own life.
Yes.
Don't tell me you don't have confidence and you're still overthinking. No. You need to do the micro work and you need to be consistent about it, regardless where you are at.
So I want to talk about the barriers since we are also talking about overcoming it, but I think I want to highlight it so we know how to overcome it. I'm hearing the fear as an emotion is one of the biggest obstacle, and I
Okay.
think what are we fearing is fear of the unknown, fear of failing, and the reason why the entrepreneurship journey is also not a stable one is because we often think it from a very different perspective, as if we were an employee. The entrepreneurship journey is you have a vision in mind, but anything can change along the way. So if we are okay with that point per se, anything that we do, right, if we take it as like discovery, as exploring, as curiosity, right, then the fear of failure can be removed out of the equation because, as the saying goes, getting it done, taking action is always better than being perfect. Because if the reason why a lot of people don't understand the entrepreneurship journey, even though they claim they want to do something for themselves, right, is because they are thinking it from a different perspective, and that's why it's very misaligned because of expectations versus reality. And that's where the jar of the mental models is very, it's too big a gap for them to continue on.
Okay.
And I wanted to say that it's because entrepreneurship is about you having your solutions work, people paying you for it, having that purpose and joy that you gain from, the process of it, right? It is more of a, you don't know what you don't know is because you don't know what can happen, but the only thing for you to do is to find a point that fits. So it's not about failing, it is not about perfectionism, but it's more of a data points as you learn, as you accumulate all these experiences, as you accumulate the solutions that can work better and better for you in order to be able to grow higher and higher. I wanted to highlight this because entrepreneurship is so misconstrued and misunderstood. And then, yeah, what you were saying?
No, please. I just wanted to add on, and I'll add on
Am I
later on.
making sense? Yes,
Yeah.
right? Yes, right? Yeah, okay. No, but sometimes this topic is a very big topic that needed to be broken down. Because a lot of us, right, always want to have an ideal dream. But when we thought that, we cannot achieve it, right, we give up already. And that's where I wanted to highlight, right, the procrastination of not knowing where to start and also wanting to
Come find me. I'm a clarity man.
and they only want to achieve the big one with that unrealistic expectations that's happening internally. And that's why I wanted to highlight. I don't even know how to put it impactfully so that you guys get it. But most times, right, if you have a vision, let it be a vision. But what matters most next is to build a baby or minute step or micro step for you to get started on the journey. Because methods can vary and can be different, but your vision never changes. Only the methods and the techniques change. And then instead of, trying to think that like, this way works, right, you are going to slap and block yourself because most of the time ourselves are the biggest obstacle if you haven't realized it already. All you need to do is to remove yourself out of the equation, have that vision, and then build that first step. That's it. And then the subsequent steps will come after you take the first step. Is it a right or wrong thing? Let me assure you it's never a right or wrong thing. Is it a pass or fail thing? Let me assure you again it's not a pass or fail thing. It is about what needs to happen at that moment and what works for like the people that what Lynn mentioned, your stakeholders, the people in consideration. your priority. And that's where I wanted to dissect and different it, right? So that it's easy for us to start the action. You know, a lot of people keep talking about starting the action, right? It's easier because if you break it down, right, it seems more digestible now. Because a big vision, it sounds very ambitious. It is actually very scary. And most of the times, you don't know what's happening and you don't know what needs to happen. And then as Lynn mentioned, right, you said that we don't need anything. Everything else is excess and surplus. And that's where your power of your choice needs to come in very crisply. That clarity that we're talking about is to help you to make very good choices as you continue along your journey. Because without the choice, without the discernment, without the wisdom, you will have chaos in your mind. And that's where all the obstacles start again, the barriers start again, and then we view ourselves as the biggest one, right? How do you put yourself out of the way again to continue? And that's the cycle of it. So if you understand it in that way, right, it is actually quite simple. It is really not as complex after we, so the process of accumulating and decluttering, whether is it your mental thoughts, whether is it physical items, right? It's a process that never stops in this journey of life. I wouldn't say it's limited to entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship is a way of allowing you to experience life where you never know can happen instead of being fixed in a 9 to 5 job. Because just now what we mentioned, actually our most effective skills and energy to get things done only need 20% of what we are supposed to be working at any point. We can't be working long hours. Actually, our most productive point are maybe like 2 hours out of 8 hours. And then out of the 2 hours, we get 80% of the work done. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you can go and check out the book called the 80-20 Rule. And then once you understand the framework as a concept,
maybe that's the next book we can do.
Yeah, because if you need to have something tangible that you measure, right, it is up to you to put in your own measurements to help you to move up the freaking ladder or whatever heavenly ladder you want to
Coming
up to. Because if not, right, how would other people know where you stand? If you want something measurable, some people who are very logical, who are very structured, who needed this measurable, tangible things. 80-20 is just a reference. You can be 30-70, you can be 60-40. You know,
I'm looking forward to 10-90.
yeah, that's why the book like 4-hour work week works. And that's where knowing yourself, understanding where your strengths are, or be open to finding out where your blind spots of how your untapped potential can come out. Whether you need to declutter it or whether you need to optimize it by amplifying it, is the point of what we're talking about. So in that sense, what I'm trying to say, I'm just trying to break it down into simpler steps of understanding. And then like, as people were constantly questioning us, why are you doing this, why are you doing it? Yeah, we just want to do what we want to do so that we understand what's the next step. Okay, does it have to make sense all the time? Honestly, we have reasons for it, but does it have to make sense to you? No, it doesn't have to. If you like it, you drive. If it doesn't, then you wait for the next better one.
That comes a lot of challenge for me, which I should look up, because things that doesn't make sense to me, it takes a lot of energy to continue doing. Yeah. But this comes to my next point, which I actually would like to add on to what Gerard actually shared. Expectations. Whatever that we do, we have expectation. Whether we know it consciously or unconsciously, we have an expectations. And how do we know where we are at in terms of this expectation in relation to the context and the actions that we take? Emotions. The emotions that comes up. But how do we manage that then so that we are continuously growing and expanding on the untapped potential? Number one is to leverage compounding, which is a skill stacks up the more you apply them. Thus the consistent micro steps that you take. It's okay. Today I say I'm going to do it 10 times, I did it 8 times, but you continue with the consistency. Tomorrow you bring forward the 2 times. So instead of doing 10 times, you do 12 times. Make sure you commit to what you do. Okay, if it is something like, for example, push up. Today I do 20 times. Tomorrow I'm going to do 20 times, but I did 25 times. The next day I'm going to do 25 times, not 20 times. But if I feel that my muscles start aching and all that, I don't want to push myself too much, I will lower it down 2 more times. Okay, so but you need to document it, because documenting progress either through journals, to content creation, through reflections, through your timesheet, through the calculations that you have and all that, they actually gives you a quantitative real results of where you're at. I like to use Excel spreadsheet because then I can draw the graph, then I look at the graph and I'm like, bloody hell. Okay, or I'll say good job. Okay, and I do it every month, every quarter, and every half yearly and every annually. I've been beating myself lately because I'm not up to where I am, but I'm working towards that. Okay, and that's where resilience needs to come. Because whatever that you do, you will have an expectation. And if you can actually quantify it and you realize you're not there, that's where the resilience needs to come in, because you need to manage your emotions. Either you give up, you get so upset about it, you want to give up, or you're so upset about it that it gives you additional energy to push through and to work for it. Okay, because real growth happens through setbacks. And these setbacks, your perceived setbacks, comes from your expectation. And your expectation, it is what you need to be mindful of, because it will actually break you, or it will actually make you to become the person that you never thought you would be able to become. Okay, you want to work towards that, because the thing is that you want to think of potential like a personal Wi-Fi signal. It's always there.
Open.
Yeah, it's
Not
open.
free for all to use.
Yeah,
Only you know how to tap into it.
but you need to connect and access to it. Once you connect and access to it, you can get access to a lot of things. Think of it like Wi-Fi. All right, we have this Wi-Fi even before Wi-Fi is being introduced. Think again, the person who actually invented Wi-Fi, where did they get all this idea? Where did they get all this idea?
Even AI now, people are using it in a way that is so misconstrued. I don't know whether I want to like laugh or cry, but it's late. You know, as we talk
You can
about,
laugh and cry, yeah. It's okay. No one will
you know,
stop
it's
you.
in the if let's say we are actually putting a cap on our reality and expectations, how are you going to grow beyond your cap if you don't take it out? So vision it like in this manner. If you want your untapped potential to come out, stop putting a cap on your head. Okay, so what you need to do is just to be curious and explore. Take the first baby step. Whether it makes sense or not, does not matter. But as you take the step, you will ultimately make sense of it.
It needs to make sense to me.
For
At
you
least,
lah.
at least it needs to make sense that, okay, I'm going to put in these hours and this energy into it. It needs to make sense
I'm
that,
saying baby steps. I'm not saying
Yeah.
go all in.
yeah, I need to make sense to me in the sense that, okay, what
That's
is
having
it?
expectations ready.
You need to have a certain expectation, but you need to manage your expectation. Without expectation, what are you going to do? You doesn't swim here, swim there, and then swim go where? You're
So what
wasting
about
time.
trusting the process? Because if you're stuck and you don't know what to do, having the expectation will actually hold
No,
you back.
you would want to take a micro step and all that. Once you know that there's an untapped potential there, then as you take that, you will have an expectation, but you would want to manage your expectation. I'm not saying that you're going to swim or you're going to miss it or think no. But once you commit into it, you must know that every time as you reflect on it, what's your feedback, what's your takeaways, whether this still serves you and you want to continue. If you want to continue, what are the reasons that you are actually continuing? Because of what quantitative findings that you actually got, what reflection that you got. Otherwise, for what?
Yeah.
For what purpose? You must know
So
when to
having the
actually
vision
cut.
helps, but whether you make sense of it from the first baby step may not always have the sense that you're looking for.
When you take the baby steps, you need to know what is it that you're actually taking, because one type of baby steps differs from another type of baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
You
But
just
for
need to
those who
know
are
which one.
superstar and
Never mind, find a
super
coach.
hibernating,
Never mind, find a coach.
baby step will they know without them, and then they continue to hibernate. It actually doesn't make sense to me. Not continue to hibernate.
Then
Yeah,
that's
I continue to
also-
procrastinate.
then you want to go back to your values, what's important to you. If procrastinate and go and hibernate and do nothing is important to you, that's your life. That's how you want to spend your life. Take responsibility.
So
of
in
it.
other words, we are saying, right, then this kind of people, right, don't bother already. We only care about those who want to take the first step. Whether it's big or small, whether it makes sense, I'm still going to say it, because it's like most times we don't know what we don't know. Only when we take the first step will we then to start to realize how is it that we can fit into our outcomes, our goals, our specific expectations. And expectations is a very interesting thing, because at every step and every technique, there are multiple different expectations from different scenarios and people who
Yep.
comes into the equation. So it has to be in a way, right, realistic, where it is a two-way thing. You think and what comes out, and what other people think and what comes out. Actually, it's more than two ways. It's actually minimally four ways.
Exactly. Come and learn about the model of the world. Come and learn from different perspective, from HI, from NLP, from personal branding, from mindset, from accountability activities. Come and learn. Come and contribute. Come and share as well. Especially if you are in the personal development or wellness area, come and join us. Reason being is that we want to challenge you for you to challenge us as well, so that we can grow and unleash our potential further. Come and join us. All right. So the next thing that I want to actually bring us to is part 6. Okay, it's the long-term potentials from unlocking. Okay, there are 5 areas to it. Number 1 is the personal growth. This personal growth has 2 areas. It's the personal growth and professional growth, because it's the mastery of new skills, it's the improved relationships. Now, when I talk about relationships, I start about relationship with ourselves and the relationship with people around us. Now, I just going to touch and go on this, otherwise we will continue to talk about it, which is the expectation. You expect the other party to understand you. Yes and no at any point in time. You expect the party to actually know you when you're down. Yes and no at any point in time. But the thing is that I don't usually use this word but this time I want to use this word but, because the relationship with yourself is the utmost important, because any help is self-help. If you don't want to help yourself, no matter how the other person wants to help you, they will not be able to go through the barrier to be able to help you. They may only probably help you cushion the impact. They may probably help you ease the process, but you still need to help yourself and you still need to make that choice. All right. So your mastery of new skills is important for you to have the kind of relationship with yourself that allows you to go and move towards the potential, the untapped potential, the potentials that you realize that you want to actually harness right now, that you want to leap forward through it, using it, and you want to embody that, do that. Okay? Because once you have this personal growth, that's where your professional growth or your career growth comes in. That's where your new income streams can come in. That's where your unique values can come in. That's where your personal values and deliveries can come in. That's where a lot of creativity freedoms can come in your delivery of values. More ideas will come up. The people that you will attract to you, the people that you attract towards to, okay, it will ripple the effect of your growth and inspire others. Now, no one can inspire another except for when you are inspiring yourself, you will expand the energy out to another person. That's what happens. So long-term potentials are the long-term effect that you will see the kind of life and experience that you foresee and you wanted to, and are you already living it? You want to ask yourself that. Okay, so I give you a question, something to think about. What would your life look like if you unlocked even 10% more of your potential?
I want to hear from Marco. And then Wei Ying.
Okay, I'll pass it.
Okay, like Wei Ying start first. How would your life look like if you have unlocked
Even 10% more.
of your potential? Like how will it look like?
How will you look like? It will be like when whatever that I say, right? You can actually see people's smile on the face.
Okay, so you're
But
saying
people
that
could
not
be
many
watching
people are
comedy or
smiling.
TikTok and then they smile.
No, it's not. It's
No, she's saying not enough
thing-
people are smiling now.
Marco, can you smile?
It's not about smiling, lah. It's about you have the feeling that they actually, the things that you share actually make sense to them, and they actually get inspired, and then they actually will do whatever they do.
Okay,
Okay, good.
very people driven. Okay, Marco, your turn. Smile, wow, $1 million smile.
Mm.
What will your life look like when you have untapped, when you have opened up 10% more of your untapped potential? Can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I also watching in different times.
How would your life look like if you have untapped 10 to 30% more of your untapped potential?
How to untap?
How will your life look like if you manage to unleash more of your untapped potential?
I don't know. It might actually go in like multiples. Might exponentially go. Sometimes I can feel that when there's very good days, then things like explosively go forward. But then sometimes when there are negative days, then it's really hard to get up.
So you'll get up.
Hard to say what will happen with that extra 10% or 20% of.
If let's say you envision yourself to already embody that 10% growth, the exponential growth in you, either in managing your emotions and along the way you actually reach the target of your projects or the goal of your projects or the milestone of the projects that you want to achieve, how would it look like? What would it look like?
I don't know. I think that the potential is not perhaps to reaching somewhere. At least not for me, because it never really helped to reach somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't like stay in the process or be able to take negative experiences or enjoy the process and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the potential would be something like a power.
Mm.
Like energy is the result.
Ah.
You might get like energized. Say, but to get that power, the potential, like in physics, yeah, that's different. I think motivation that should be born inside instead of like coming externally. So
Makes sense.
Very
that's what
sensitive.
I'm looking for,
I see.
searching for.
Understand.
What you share is very valuable because it actually brings me back to something that I'm contemplating lately, in terms of what's my thoughts about it and moving forward, how do I actually bring this forward in my sharings? It's about we're never arrived.
It's a constant motion, as what Marco mentioned. I also wanted to share, right, if I unleash 10% more of my potential, I will not allow vampire energy
Expectation.
drainers. No, actually, my expectations
she
are not
foresee
okay.
yeah.
It's more of meeting people who are draining and not be affected. So which means I don't even need to put them and I label them as they are draining me, I will just move. Because the internal energy is what is the drive to help us to achieve what we want as the external outcomes. And the external outcomes is also something that is not set in stone. Right? Like the flavors that we want, the phases that we go through in life when we're young, when we're mid-age, when we're older, it's all kind of different. And if we know what drives us inside and we know we have the power to alchemize things, create things, hold space, nurture, inspire,
Who
right?
wants to hold space for me? Okay.
You will be able to continue to keep going on the journey, which has no end until you expire. Anything that excites you, anything that you know you have to bash through, you will pick it up graciously and get it done and keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my take on your question. What about yourself?
Pardon me on the who wants to hold space for you, because I feel that it's a good timing to go in. Because the thing is that as you journey towards having this 10%, as you look and you envision towards, right, you want to ask yourself, okay, how do I gauge this 10% more? Do I feel it, know it, hear it? If yes, so be it. Okay, who is going to hold space for you and all that? You want to know, you are going to hold space for yourself. But if you really need help, go and actually ask those who are actually able to hold that kind of space for you to be in the step one, the intervention part, so that you can actually fast track. And then number two, okay, setting the boundaries, aligning, planning, and all that, and then taking actions is all on your own. Okay, so having that. Answering to your question, what would your life look like if you unlocked even 10% more of your potential? I would say I will be drawing in different types of individuals into my life. I will have new connections. I will be doing a lot of things at a different level with more depth. And I will probably be able to reach the 10%, 90% instead of 80,
Oh, yeah.
20%.
Do your work at 10% of the energy.
Yeah,
and
because I
time
just
that-
want to cut the 20% to 10%,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so efficiently that I'm able to do that. Now, I just want to share additionally, if I may, on this part called Will Never Arrived. I want to bring in this concept because I feel that even though I put out this question, you know, what would your life look like if you unlocked even 10% more of your potential? It is always 10%, 10%, 10% more. And we won't be able to really gauge this 10% unless we quantify it to a context specific. For example, if let's say you talk about time management in a task, in a project and all that, you can quantify it based on your timesheet to see whether you actually 10% more in your efficiency or your productivity. But the thing is that you want to ask yourself, if we are never arrived, what kind of life do you really want to live and experience so that you know that you're actually living a fulfilling life? And the choices that you make, that you build up towards in what you what boundaries you actually going to put up? What is it that you are going to leverage on? What resources that you have and what you need and all that? All this come into place when you know what kind of life you want to experience and who are the people that you're going to contribute to towards the life that you're actually living. Because when you know what kind of life you want to experience, right now, here and now, what resources do you have? Okay, what is it that you have right now that you can actually leverage on, and what is it that you need towards the life and the experience that you want to live? Because when you do that, you realize that, hey, I can actually work towards that experience, that one-liner experience. For example, if I want to be a writer, okay, right now I'm only writing one article per month. Maybe I can speed it up to writing one article per week, and I can actually read out the kind of writing styles and explore the kind of writing styles, or listen to podcast books, or go for master classes so that I can beef up on my writing skills. These are the things that you know where you're at. You go and find the resources, and then if you want to be a writer, you move towards that. And then as you move towards that, then you can gauge, hey, I think I'm 10% more of my potential. Why? Because previously I need to spend 2 hours on one article. Now I'm spending 50% less, all right? Or now I'm much more better in my articulation of ideas as I write. And now I have 10% more of readers, that actually come and read my article. So these are the type of quantifier effect, or these are the types of measurements that you actually can bring into place to see where you are at any point in time. And because you will never arrive, because there's always more. That's the next sentence to it, okay? You'll never arrive because there's always more. There is always more. So the 10% is only a gauge. It could be 5% for you, it could be 15% for you.
Some
we
people
want to
say
ask
1%.
1%, why not? All right, I've done 1% before, the 1% growth and all that. I've done it for 30 days, and I realized that actually no, we are not only talking about 1%. We can actually do it at 20%. We can actually do it at 2% if it's a small micro ones. So what if I'm not looking at 1%? I'm not looking at one thing that I'm going to do differently each day, but I'm going to look at two things that are different each day in two different areas of my life that are very connected to what actually I'm going to achieve. Why? Because we have AI, we have technology these days to actually help us do that. We are much more informed these days. We are much more well connected each day. All we needed to do is just to manage our own emotions. Knowing what we clarity, what we want to achieve, what we want to do, and I move towards that. Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to add on raising intelligence.
Okay.
I mean, so ultimately, right, unlocking this 10% of our untapped potential is also raising our own intelligence. I'm not talking humanity, I'm not talking about, self-help. That also applies. But outcome is to raise the intelligence so that every investment of whatever time, effort, energy, or money that you pump in, right, will actually give you a measurable growth and reliable level up. So I want to highlight that, right? The reason why we're doing this as also a business and a company called Thrive, right, is for you to understand that we are not just here to earn your money or take your money. It's for you to allow yourself to make the choice to do the investment of leveling up your intelligence so that you can live the desired outcomes and the life that you want. And we are just part of the empowering and the supporting role, and our initiatives, right? Most of them we're not even charging, is paying it forward. But ultimately, the solutions that you pay for will move you up the ladder. It's not for the sake of it, as what most businesses are doing, and that's why we also face a lot of resistance, because a lot of people are getting it wrong and not thinking it from the perspective that fits. And actually, right, what we have to level up ourselves is to articulate it clearer and clearer. If you want people to hold space for you, I'm so intentional of saying this is because learn how to communicate and articulate in a way so that people can hold space for you and not you're just draining them at the same time. Because ultimately our time and energy, as what Marco has shared and Lynn has shared, right, is what is precious to us is our energy. When we feel drained, right, we cannot function at our most optimal.
Yeah, because not everybody are actually trained to be able to hold kind of space for you, even though you can't articulate. Only trained coaches, trained individuals are able to do so. That's why if you want to actually get somebody to hold space for you, go find out who are the individuals that you resonate with, and you're willing to spend your time and energy and also your resources to actually have that help being extended to you. Now, it's very important, it's very crucial, I feel, because I have seen a lot of people go through a route where they have to spend more time, more resources, more energy to actually, I would say, to realign them again, because they have been gone through. I give you an example. Okay, if you have a stain on your clothes, okay, your clothes is white color, for example, right? You didn't use the right material to actually clean it to help you, take the stain away. You use the wrong one, it smudge, become worse, and the cloth quality may also become worse. So finding it is like finding the right materials, like finding the right coach or trainer or mentor to help you. You find somebody who is not trained, right? They will smudge the entire thing, and then you may think that it's not there anymore, but it's still grayish at the background. But if you're able to find the right tool, right detergent, right coach, right mentor, right trainer to actually help you, the stain will go away. All right, especially if it's fresh stain. Longer stain will take longer time. All right, so don't wait for your own growth. Don't delay your own growth. I can never emphasize that more, because it really, I don't know, maybe this is me. It really pains me when people delay their growth, because things that is being delayed, they are still there, but they are so deep in your unconscious that you need to do more work later on. And when it comes out as triggers, that's where people go into trance of anger. People goes into depression. People goes into, suicidal thoughts and all that. You don't want to escalate into that. So always work on yourself. Untap your potential is also working on yourself, because it's personal development. If it's in the context of your career and business, it's professional development, so be it. All right. If if it is in your interest, your hobbies and all that, so be it. But do something to always discover something new for yourself so that you are moving forward, so that you have the rapport and the relationship with yourself that is very authentic, very pure for yourself. You know yourself. Even if you get lost, know that there's always resources out there to actually help you get aligned again. And only you know the best way for yourself.
So allow me to continue to share how we actually run the business. We have the business model built on continuous improvement. We don't sell you and then leave you there. We make sure that you use it and level up before we sell you new things. Of course, we want you to level up because if you don't get it, how are you going to continue to sustain the business of ours and your own? But as we align the solutions with your growth objectives, right? Each solution purchase will unlock your new capabilities. If you don't know how to use it, right, we will let you know, right, this is how we can use it. If you want us to do it for you, we want to learn how to use it, we can. So that there is a support consistently that is sustainable so that we can grow together with our clients and you all and ourselves. So it's not like how typical business that run that they say, I have this, I just want to sell this, I want to sell this, I push KPI, use sales skills, I use it. No, nowadays the era has changed. It's a holistic way of looking at things. If we are talking about user experience and user-centric design, right, talking about spaces, how come we are not having environments that can be designed for us? How come? Of course, nobody is going to do it. How come? So we take responsibility and initiative to do it lah. You don't need to wait for how come. You don't need to ask for permission. You just do it. Right? Whether people explain or want to understand it from the perspective that they can understand at any moment, right? It's also based on the level of their connection of connecting the dots. If they don't get it, does not matter, right? As I mentioned, right, if we don't take a micro baby step, nothing changes. Change is the only constant. So the reason why we have all these actionable insights being delivered in, like, for example, live streaming, play sessions, creative sessions, we want you to experience it for yourself. You're tired of people talking down to you, and yet you tell me you refuse to show up is also something that doesn't jive with me, right? So that's why I say, right, if I could unleash 10% more of my untapped potential, I wouldn't be bothered by people who are draining. I would just continue to do it. It's like, yeah, I welcome you when you decide to. You don't want, then it's also your choice. Your choice, not my choice. I choose to do it. I choose to show up and do it in a way that is imperfect. Whether it needs to have any adjustments, we'll do it along the way, because as what we all keep saying, we don't know what we don't know. And if we understand entrepreneurship is a journey that is open and it's not closed, it's not employee sector, like your company has this, they want you to drive this, they want to drive this, it's closed already. Entrepreneur is open, life is also open. If you see the similarities between life and entrepreneurship, right, that's also the reason why people call that life is a game of life, the business of life. No, it's a game, it's a business, it's how you manage it, it's how you run it, it's how you define it, it's how you design it according to your choice. But also at the same time, unrealistic expectations is you can't hope for everyone to conform to you. That's about dictatorship. That's oppression.
When I first came across this term entrepreneurship, I never understood it. It took me a longest time to actually really understand it. Even if I read through the definition 10, 20 times, right, I still don't understand it. You know why? To me, entrepreneurship, it's about us knowing how to position ourselves and give values to others. It's a problem-solving thing. So I have no idea why the term becomes so commercialized, and definitions of different experts of different fields actually come and talk about it and conceptualized it so much. Do away with all the concepts and all that. Think about, when you were young, how would you problem solve something and bring values to another? If you can come back to this simplicity and you can actually explain entrepreneurship in this term, and a 7-year-old can understand you understand entrepreneurship already, right? Untapped potential, it's all about journeying into yourself and find out and discover what is there in you, right? So before we end, let me recap some core points, okay? Untapped potential is about the importance of the untapped potentials or potentials itself, the identification of it, the implementation of it, the growth of it, and the future potential of it, which Jara refers it as vision. All right. Now, for us to continuously motivate ourselves, I encourage you for the next 7 days, do one thing daily to tap into your unused power or your unused potential. All right. You can actually join us and come back and let us know the results, or get someone to talk to, or just journal it. All right. And with that, remember, untapped potential is very important because it's an internal fulfillment where it prevents stagnation and regret. And it's also an external result in the form of your career success recognition in your relationship with another and yourself. And it's also a collective impact. It's a collective impact because society thrives when people live much more fulfilling, and then people live in a manner that they know who they are. We have less mental wellness issues, we have less wellness issues to actually tackle. We have more informed individual who will show up respectfully and can connect healthily with one another. All right. So why is untapped potential important? Internal fulfillment, external results, and collective impact. Okay, so that's all for me. I will leave it to Jara to actually wrap up. And if Wei, you have anything to share, please share.
Before I wrap up, anything to share, Wayne? Yeah, any thoughts you want to share?
I think how about the 10%, right? It really reminds me of like actually this world that is actually this world, right, is all about abundance. That's what I feel. It's more about how you actually use whatever resources that you have and then grow from there. Because it's not everything is abundant. That's what I feel.
It's big enough to contain the world.
That's where the untapped potential is about. Because when it came to life, is already whatever we have, we already have it. It's just that whatever God actually put us to this life to actually do whatever we need to do. And then also it's like sometimes like we actually cannot see the opportunities because we are too
Good life.
boxed.
Yeah, too good life. Too boxed up because good
Too
life.
boxed up. And also it's also God that is giving us challenges so that we actually being like more us and then learn, and then from the challenges actually grow from there.
Yeah, God here could be your higher self as well. It could be the higher conscious mind. It could be your ancestral, your guides, whoever that you actually resonate.
What is your faith of belief?
Whoever that you resonate with.
So, and most importantly, I think it's about when you untap your potential, right? There will be freedom. I would say. I think that's ultimately most of the.
You want to tap into your potential, not untap your potential. You want to tap into your potential. You want to tap into your untapped potential.
Okay. Tap into the untapped potential. Wait, repeat. Tap into the untapped potential. Because too many similar keywords.
Because you don't want to untap your potential, you want to tap into your untapped potential. So you want to tap into your potential.
There's a difference in the articulation. So creation is very specifically on communication, and the depth of it is articulation, the precision of it. Because if you are precise, right, you are able to pinpoint what is it that you want and what you don't want, so that people who resonate will come to you, and that's what they call the attraction. Because they also see on the flip side, what you don't want can also be attracted to you. Because if you're messy, you're chaotic, people will also like get onto there and then thought like, hey, yeah, misery loves company, so let me pump more of those to you. And that's what we don't want. Yeah. So the art of is also a very interesting topic that maybe we'll talk about next time. But good point. Anything else to share? The universe is big enough. the world is big enough for us to have our own place. Freedom is what we want. Freedom of life, freedom of mind. Okay.
So also the like it's like time is like plus and minus. There's always plus and minus. So whatever you give in will actually come out. And whatever come out will recycle back.
Yeah.
So it's like a season of life. Everything was season.
Yeah. Yeah. Ups and downs, high and low. Okay. Good point.
Good.
My turn.
Yes. My dear co-host.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Sorry.
Is that intentional? I'm not mocking you, eh?
No, okay. So to put it into tangible actions, right? I think we can start off with how do you want to create a first potential project? You know, this is something that is very exciting for me because I'm the action-driven person. That like I always insist any concepts learn, apply, any action that needs to be done, even though it's not clear or perfect. Do already and then refine it. Because ultimately, right, if you don't create your own first potential, you will keep thinking that you need other people to push you. You keep thinking that other people will need to inspire you, other people will need to motivate you. No, you have to motivate yourself, inspire yourself, start understanding what is it that you want to try out, what you want to tinker with, what you want to experiment with, and then create that project. Whether it has a a tangible outcome, whether you will get paid for it, does not matter. Okay, because if you think too far without taking the first step, nothing happens until someone comes and take it from you. And then you will start saying like, hey, this person take my idea. Hey, this person is doing what I'm doing. I'm like, come on. No. So start understanding what is it you want. Create your own first project. So if you have no idea, don't worry. We are here because we are like quite apt at it. Tinkering and creating potential projects, multiple potential projects. And then do it with us, share with us, and then it's about consistency. It's not about perfection. So the progress that we are looking for and working into the big vision, the big dream that you want, it's constantly built on small daily actions. As what Augustus say, right? Success is the I want to quote properly. Success is making the best of the failures we encounter.
How come I don't see here?
Fox, he comment on my account. I think there's a difference if he log into different. So everyone has an untapped potential. Most times it's lying very comfortably in our blind spots. So don't be afraid of saying what you are thinking. Say it out loud. Learn the art of communication first, then articulation, because the specificity and the nuance makes a lot of difference. But never mind, we start small, we start simple. If we want to argue it out, okay, you can start there. I mean, if it works, if someone will work somehow. And then from there, right, you will understand what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you don't like. And then when you want to pinpoint certain specific learnings, how you want to raise your intelligence, who you want to choose to be your support group, who you want to choose to be your mastermind group, also there's a difference. Because holding space for you to whine and tear and scream and shout may not be the same group of people who will actually accelerate your growth. Because we all have different resonance, different levels of competence, skill sets, and expertise, and resources that will actually come in at different points. And that's where we always say the world, our universe, works in your favor only if you choose to hear it, see it, and listen. Yeah, because this will allow you to tap into the collective higher intelligence, whether you call it power, whether you call it God, whether you call it universe, right? It is where you allow yourself to be open in this manner. And how it will come in as inspirations, ideas. You don't need other people to tell you one. You will just pop into your head. And then you think, how come suddenly this come into the head? Crucial point is when you choose to want to act on it or when you choose to dismiss it. That's the fine point. No lah, maybe it's just my random thinking. But yes lah, maybe I can start something. Maybe I will go and find it out. Maybe I'll go to the library and borrow a book that first pops into my field of vision. Maybe I can ask around so that somebody will give me a suggestion that I can take action and follow the path on. You know, Alice in Wonderland, follow down the rabbit hole. Yeah, it could be that. Only if you allow yourself to be open. Okay, do not be the person who self-sabotage yourself. No lah, no lah, no lah, no lah. I'm too old. No lah, I won't be no lah. Then I say bye-bye. Go and sleep. Okay, that's all I wrap it up. Anything else to add?
Nothing. I think we are good, and I appreciate this conversation very much, and I do hope that it will bring values to those who actually listen in, and yeah.
Augustus
Appreciate-
has one sharing.
Yes.
Let me read it out.
Mm.
The anatomy of business keeping growing unless we stop the business. I think what he means is the business will keep growing until you choose to stop. Whether you are in the business of life, whether you're in the business of the work that you're doing, we are actually running a business. So entrepreneurship to me, right, I feel like it's very relevant, not just for work or money or whatever else. It's also in the life that we are actually functioning in. Because when we learn different skill sets of managing people, managing skills, managing resources, managing time, managing energy, right? You know how to apply it in a business. And that's where you will be able to run it concurrently, right? Without suffering the burnout that most people are suffering through right now. And that's where probably 10% can actually accomplish the 90% of the work that can be done effectively.
So what you want to ask yourself, an additional question is, what business are you in? Okay, I'm not talking about the business sense in terms of the sectorial and industrial only. I'm talking first and foremost, what business are you in expressing yourself as who you are in the context of the positions and in the context of the sector and industry that you are in. Okay, so for what purpose you're doing all this, only you know, but having clarity in it allows you to tap into the potentials or potentials that is in you that you maybe consciously know or unconsciously know. Okay, so if you're unconsciously knowing it, then of course you want to bring it to the awareness of your conscious so that you can do something about it. And as you do something about it, it's all about ecology. And as you do what is ecological, you will see things that we call miracles and luck happening, and this will definitely show you the other side of life, that you will then realize that all of the work that we are doing is only an expression of who we are. So does entrepreneurship, so does answering the business that you're in, so does answering the so-called 10%, so does also answering to you the type of experience of life that you want to experience. So that's my additional add-on. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for having us. And hope to see you the next round when we come live.
The next round that we have will be the third Wednesday. And it's not just streaming, but it's more of activity-based, where we likely will do it through play sessions. What game is it you want? You just come and find out for yourself.
Also, this Friday, we will be live streaming our junk journaling session that Tribe is advocating, the Live 2.0. Come join us if you can. For those who are in Singapore, it's going to be from 2 to 4 at the Essence of Pinnacle. And for those who just want to see like vlog, us doing things together, just come and join us on our live stream.
Yes.
All right.
So this Friday 2 to 4 p.m. we'll be doing sharing of materials, whether is it scrap materials, whether is it cute stickers, whether we buy too many and then you have no time to do it. Now's the time to bring those materials. We'll do it in a junk journal style, creative, maybe art jamming, however you want to call it. And then we'll talk, we'll share, we'll have kopi, and then get to know each other better. So hope to see you. If you are not sure what we're talking about, you can just PM either one of us through the stream or TikTok that you are watching now, and then we'll give you the details.
Yeah, don't worry if you don't have any materials because we have plenty. All right. Thank you all very much
See
for
you.
joining in, and see you next time.